Making a start with our top focus tonight in this biggest attack on the Congress yet, the Bharatiya Janata Party today directly linked former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh with an alleged attempt by the UPA to help provide loans for failed industrialist Vijay Mallya. We will track the counter allegations and the allegations very closely, but first up, here's a detailed report.
In 2010, liquor baron Vijay Mallya's struggling airline was staring at a shutdown, having failed to pay off its loans amounting to 9,000 crore, and with the banks breathing down his neck. But within weeks, things suddenly changed, and his loans were restructured once again. The BJP claims it was done after the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and his government intervened in the matter to help Mr. Mallya out.
The party which became the sinking ship tried to bail out the shrinking airline. Though the income tax department had frozen the account of Mr. Mallya, because of the insistence of the then Prime Minister, the income tax department was soft on Mr. Mallya, the accounts were unfrozen, and in fact the process of bailout began.
The letters and emails that the BJP is referring to is not new. The recorded correspondence show Mr. Mallya thanking the then Prime Minister for his help in arranging meetings with representatives of various ministries. The document is not, however, marked secret. It doesn't even suggest illegality, claims the Congress. The big question then, why now? The documents themselves, tom-tommed by the BJP today, have been doing the rounds in the Indian media for several days now. Why make the charges a day before the budget session? For the answers, watch this space. Bureau Report. Beyond.
Now, those are some serious allegations that the BJP has just ahead of the elections in the 5 states thrown at the Congress, not just the Congress, India's former Prime Minister and also India's Finance Minister, P. Chidambaram, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, of having colluded with the banks in bailing out Vijay Mallya. To what extent do these allegations really boil out to who helped who and who colluded with who? We will try and break down those aspects for you over the next few minutes with the help of our panelists, Mr. Sharat Gupta, senior journalist, joining us here in WION Studios. Also joining us, Ami Yagnik, spokesperson of the Congress. We will also be getting in a word from spokesperson of the BJP, Ms. China NC, in just a short while from now. But first up to you, Mr. Gupta, the allegation that there was collusion. Now, to what extent is the argument fair that this could not have happened without political backing? The fact that Vijay Mallya continued to enjoy support from the banks in spite of crisis brewing within the Kingfisher Airlines for 8 years without any profit making?
Basically, most of the banks, they are the independent entities. They do not depend upon the government to take their day-to-day decisions. But it was such a major decision where the CMDs could not have decided. Maybe they wanted a help or maybe a hint from the government. And in this particular case, if you see the IDBI CMD after being arrested, so things are coming out that there was some government interference in the whole process. And as we have seen in the correspondence also, Mr. Vijay Mallya is thanking the Prime Minister for his help. So that is clearly an indication that Prime Minister did put in a word to the CMDs of some banks from which Mr. Mallya had taken some loan. And his bank accounts had been frozen and he was not being allowed further loan. So the Prime Minister did put in a word to say that maybe some more funds may be released by the banks so that the company may remain afloat for some more time. But if it was such a sinking ship, so it was not prudent for the banks to have released more funds, because in any case they were getting NPAs, non-performing assets. So putting more money into a sinking ship isn't wise.
Putting more money in a sinking ship is not wise. Let me now take in a word from you, Ami Yagnik, spokesperson of the Congress. Your response to some serious allegations that have been levied by the Bharatiya Janata Party of how India's former Prime Minister actually went out of the way to try and bail out failed industrialist Vijay Mallya. Your response?
First of all, there are allegations. They're completely some kind of strange allegations in the air without any proper documentation. A couple of emails are shown by someone who has written them to the former Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Singh, and well said that yes, you have tried to help, but tried to help and actually direct somebody that you please help shows there is some kind of intention. But yes, when there was privatization post 90 and liberalization and foreign investment or domestic investment was encouraged, when some particular business house has fallen into some deep trouble and has asked for some kind of a help or some kind of troubles, that yes, I need some kind of a help, and if the Honorable Prime Minister has said something that yes, in the age of privatization we do not need to see so much investment failing or business failing, we would like to see that you are helped out. But that doesn't mean that the Honorable Prime Minister has told the banks who are autonomous that yes, you come out and give him so much money. The fact remains that despite there being a 9,000 crore loan given to several companies of Mr. Mallya, on the very day when the matter is before the Honorable Apex Court and the Honorable Attorney General says that he has gone away. So the BJP, the ruling party, knew that here is a man who is being investigated into, his affairs are being investigated into, there's a lookout notice for him, and yet he flees the country under the very nose of this honorable, under this ruling government. So there is a practically a graver charge against this ruling party. Forget about the allegations. Anyone can write a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister. Today also there are allegations against Mr. Narendra Modi about Sahara and Birla. Has he come forward and clarified? Though there are written allegations before the investigating, before the income tax. So let us not go into allegations. Here are very, very strong charges against the ruling government for saying that this particular person has fled away from the country and no money is brought back.
All right, let me just also take that point forward with Mr. Gupta. We will, of course, be getting in a word from the spokesperson of the BJP in just a short bit. The kind of allegations and counter-allegations that we've listened to, sir, for the past 2 days and today, with those fresh allegations being made by the BJP, do you term these just as political posturing? Are you also questioning the timing of these allegations? Because these letters have been in the public domain. There are investigations being conducted. 1.5 lakh emails we were told earlier on are being looked into. So are you looking at the timing being suspect here?
Of course, the timing is important because elections to 5 assemblies are already underway, and 2 states are going to pose in say less than a week's time. So timing is suspect, and as you said, that the mails were already in public domain for a long time. So what was the need to rake it up at such a time? So timing is suspect, and if I can say, the same is true for Birla and Sahara papers, which Ami Agnik was referring to, because these papers were also in the public domain for a long time, and they had also been rejected to be further investigated by Supreme Court, and still the Congress keeps on referring to Birla and Sahara papers time and again. So these are allegations and counter allegations that keep on going, but the fact is that he was given money, and also it's another fact that he was allowed to flee when he was being investigated. So both are facts, and they are incontrovertible facts.
All right, also coming to you on the aspect of the investigation of the bankers. Now, if the BJP and the Congress, of course, are alleging that their representatives had in fact colluded with the banks, are you suggesting then that the buck stops with the bankers there?
No, I'm not saying that. The banks are independent entities, I told you in the beginning. But were they authorized, or were they bold enough to sink more of their money?
So coming back to the aspect of political backing, now what the Congress has said, and of course alleging that the BJP has been to blame all throughout. I'm quoting here what Congress's spokesperson, AICC media chief Randeep Singh Surjewala has said and questioned the BJP. The real question to be asked is, who permitted Mr. Mallya to escape? Who pardoned the loan? Didn't the BJP vote for him and bring him to the Rajya Sabha? Fair questions?
Yeah, fair questions. But I'll say something else. I'll say, if I am a banker and I receive a letter or an email or maybe a phone call from Prime Minister or Prime Minister's office, So, what will be my reaction? So, both allegations are true. While Congress might have tried deliberately or inadvertently to help out Mallya, maybe for not for his personal interest, or maybe for country's interest, that a well-known airline is sinking, and maybe the government tried to bail it out. So, that was another intention, or maybe they tried to bail out Mallya in person, because he is a well-known person, and in any case he was known to most of the Congress leaders also. But as you just pointed out, that he was actually made to reach Rajya Sabha with help of votes from BJP MPs.
Right.
So both are in the soup.
All right, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Ms. China NC, is through with us. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am, on the broadcast. If you have heard in to the kind of statements that we've been discussing, the Congress spokesperson has a simple question for the BJP. Who was responsible for actually ensuring that Vijay Mallya was voted to the House? Also, the kind of question being of timing being suspect here. Why now? If these emails have been in the public domain, is it not immediately questionable that the timing here is only because of political posturing and political opportunism, given the fact that the emails have been discussed for the longest time already?
Well, we have many bigger issues to project for political posturing. So I take offense to that suggestion. I would want to say, as far as Mr. Mallya is concerned, you have willful defaulters and you have defaulters who have no conviction at all. In this particular case, we know how these employees have been struggling for what is legitimately due to them for the longest time. If at all, it is the NDA government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi that has worked on his extradition, has attached his assets, and the Enforcement Directorate has worked tirelessly and relentlessly on this cause. Now, if it does come to the public domain that the previous government was in collusion with his dealings with banks, where he got loans to huge sums of money, obviously there is an entitlement for any government to question that, because where did this start from? This started from the UPA government completely giving protection to Mr. Vijay Mallya, completely shielding him from all these fraudulent activities which transpired between his conglomerate and the banks. And there you have a situation where he puts his hands up and says that he is not willing to pay up and absconds from this country, and it's our government that is trying very hard to bring him back, to have all his assets in India attached so that justice is given out. But if there is a certain blinking or a bailing out of the Kingfisher lot by the Congress government, these charges have to be absolutely brought in the public domain for people to understand who was behind what and who was shielding whom.
All right, so what the Congress, ma'am, is saying all throughout is that yes, the letter was received from Mr. Vijay Mallya in the year 2013. Yes, they are not denying that, but it was only a routine exercise is what the Congress is saying. It was passed on. Where in that sense does it establish that there was collusion and that there was a bailout package on part of the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister of the previous UPA government?
Is that question to me?
Absolutely, ma'am.
See, the charges alleged after these emails showed up, it showed that the UPA government was clearly lobbying for Mr. Mallya's airlines for reasons best known to them. Now, in that process, they were favoring Mr. Vijay Mallya. Now, I want to just say that this is not about BJP raising an issue or bringing it to the public domain. It's the investigative agencies that have been working tirelessly to bring out all the lacunas in the system when it comes to Vijay Mallya. And these emails show how he lobbied and he was getting favor after favor by the then UPA government. So isn't it a right question to ask Dr. Manmohan Singh to answer this and to say how were these banks giving him loan after loan? How were these so-called, private associations which wanted a particular airline to come into place and come into being? How did they support Mr. Mallya without any kind of guarantors, any kind of collaterals? And all of this is a systemic flaw which has been brought to the public domain. So I think that the intelligence agencies and the investigative agencies are both doing a great job by doing this, because it shows us in the days to come that no willful defaulter can get away scot-free.
Ami Yagnik, would you like to respond?
Yes, first things first, I think these are just baseless allegations. There might be umpteen number of emails going from people who are in distress to the Honorable Prime Minister. Here is an MP who is completely backed by the BJP government, and he's been made MP with their support. And so if there is a huge business failure, he might have asked for help. But asking for help, I think today the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, might be receiving several hundred emails, because he says you can write to me if you are in trouble. So if somebody has written to him, that doesn't mean that a direction is given by the Honorable Prime Minister, then Dr. Manmohan Singh, to this consortium of banks that yes, you give him so much amount of money. Yes, there is a procedure by each bank that has to be followed. Well, let's spoken about the banks today, because we don't know what collateral and guarantee. Yes, the other person is right when says that the procedure might have been followed. So we have to look at the procedure. You can't take 4 emails in isolation just asking for help without any other peripheral evidence or material on record, and just put the allegation as if they are the truth. All the banks who are before the Honorable Apex Court can still ask, please give us all this material, let us have a look, who has directed whom. So these are just putting arrows in the dark, just shooting arrows in the dark, because they have nothing else to do and just bring out allegations. Well, she should also answer why Mr. Modi is not talking about the Sahara Birla deals.
All right, shooting arrows in the dark has been the stance that the Congress has taken all through the day and for the last few months, of course. But coming to now discussing further aspects of how this is essentially public exchequer's money, 9,000 crores of bank loan. We don't know when Mr. Vijay Mallya is returning to the country. Our chief domestic correspondent Kartikeya Sharma joins us on the broadcast. If you've been listening into the kind of allegations and counter allegations that we've been, of course, discussing, Kartikeya, the kind of timing being a suspect, and at the end of the day, this is the public's money and we do not know when Mr. Vijay Mallya is actually returning to the country.
Well, there are 3 things to it. One is the legal thing, one is the political thing, and one is the parliamentary thing. When it comes to legality of it, I think the government is completely free to take charge and actually book Dr. Manmohan Singh and Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. But I would say that this has not happened in past 2.5 years. Mallya case has not happened in 6 months before. Mallya case happened a long time back. My understanding is that the story has more to do with the political and the parliamentary arena. This has come right before the budget session of the Parliament, Molly, which is that, if tomorrow the Congress party is going to say that let's have the Prime Minister, let's have Narendra Modi in the Parliament on the issue of demonetization, the BJP will immediately attack the Congress and said, well, let's have Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister, and let's call him on the issue of Vijay Mallya, because on the issue of Vijay Mallya, BJP was being embarrassed by Congress saying that you let him go. So it's like it's a political story where they're trying to create counter pressure, so at least the basic things in Parliament don't get affected. For me, the story is there because the government belongs to Bharatiya Janata Party, and if there is something wrong which has been done by T.K. Nair, or for example, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, or even the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, then they are well within their right to take all the legal recourse. But that's not the focus. My understanding is, focus right now is that Parliament should not get destabilized.
And this is essentially going to be an issue which will, of course, come up in the Parliament, as we've been listening to various spokespersons also point out from the BJP side. Coming now to where is Mr. Vijay Mallya? He is in the UK now. Our Bureau Chief in London joining us for more on that. Mandy Clark joins us for more on that. Mandy, first up, have you managed to speak with Mr. Mallya?
Well, Mallya didn't respond for our request for an interview, but in a series of tweets, he said he did beg the previous government for help, but not in terms of loans. He wanted a change in government policy, specifically getting good status on aviation turbine fuel and also a flat rate of sales tax.
Okay, so is he willing to return to India, Mandy, is the immediate question there.
Well, he has at least 2 properties in the UK. One here in central London is a luxury townhouse. He also has another one around an hour outside the city, and that's a sprawling estate. Now, he's been in the UK since March 2nd last year. He says he didn't run away from India, but he also has claimed that he won't get a fair trial, and so he's refusing to return home.
All right, Mandy Clark joining us from London. Thank you very much, Mandy, for that. Now, Vijay Mallya has, of course, all throughout maintained that he is willing to cooperate with the agencies. We will discuss that in just a short bit. But our chief domestic correspondent, Karthikeya Sharma, as he was just pointing out, Karthikeya, the issue will come up in the parliament. That cannot be denied. That's something that the intent for that has been highlighted by the BJP already. But to what extent do you feel that this will actually disrupt the parliament proceedings?
I think nothing much. You know, this is slated for the second part of the budget session of the Parliament, Molly. And I think that's the most ironical part, because the first session of the Parliament ends on the 9th, which is the Thursday of the next week. And the Friday is the private members' bill this week around. So there is nothing much to be done in the Parliament, apart from the fact that, you know, you have the presidential speech and the discussion on the motion of the president. And that's about it. What they want to do is that the next time around when the Parliament meets, when the results are declared on the 5 northern states and 1 state in southern part of India, which is Goa, and other in the eastern, which is Manipur, they would like the focus should be on the budget and certain issues. They don't want the focus to come back to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and it's hard politics. You know, you have to give it to Bharatiya Janata Party, because that's what the Congress has done. And that's the reason why this story is at the level of the political play. This story is not in the play at the legal level, because if that would have been the case, then Mr. Mallya's provisions under which he is being tried, Molly, would have been very, very different.
All right, on that note, why don't we now give a listen in to multiple reactions that have been trickling in on this controversy. Take a look.
The party which became the sinking ship tried to bail out the sinking airline, was the sinking ship helping the sinking airline. Though the income tax department had frozen the account of Mr. Mallya, because of the insistence of the then Prime Minister, the income tax department was soft on Mr. Mallya, the accounts were unfrozen, and in fact the process of bailout began.
Who permitted Vijay Mallya to escape? Who waived 1200 crore rupees of money of Vijay Mallya? Who permitted Mr. Vijay Mallya to become a member of parliament in 2010? Did the BJP not vote for him and bring him to Rajya Sabha?
Did the BJP not vote and bring him to the Rajya Sabha? Let me just take that straight across to Shaina NC, who's still with us. Would you like to respond to that allegation, Shaina?
Mr. Vijay Mallya was an independent from a state where BJP had few votes, but we were not in a position to have our own candidate. That is in the public domain. It's nothing that we need to act on. But the government acting de facto as a guarantor to a whole conspiracy to launch an airlines for reasons best known to them is something that you should ask the Congress government about. If this is not favoring, what is it? I mean, you have the Congress, which is not just bailing out Kingfisher Airlines, but is also suggesting that they should get loan after defaulting. Now, these UPA, the way they have lobbied for Mr. Mallya is all in the public domain. This is not something that we are talking about. This needs to be highlighted, because the Prime Minister's personal intervention is our area of contention. The documents suggest that there was a quid pro quo, which is all out in the public domain. And if the government acted as a guarantor for a bail application or for a loan application, does that not show a conflict of interest? My whole fundamental point is this. You know, you attack the BJP on catching willful defaulters, then you suggest that we have not done our job, when what you actually did was create willful defaulters. So if the UPA government and the Congress government has such little conviction that they choose to push a blind eye or push things below the blanket and below the carpet, it's most unfortunate, because here the Prime Minister personally intervened to help Mr. Mallya, and these documents clearly suggest that there was a cover-up by the UPA government, and Dr. Manmohan Singh was in the know, and in fact he was a de facto guarantor.
All right, Mr. Sharad Gupta, I would have loved to let you have the last word, but we're completely running out of time. Thank you very much to Shaina NC, Ami Yagnik, and also to Kartikeya Sharma for joining us on the broadcast. With that, it's a wrap right here. When we return, take a look at the protests that have consumed cities across the United States against Donald Trump's immigration policies. See you then. Thanks very much for watching.